Of course, PSG.LGD, it seems like they almost baited out a Templar Assassin pickup and managed to counter it with the Bat Rider. But then Complexity took a turn of their own, a last pick Wraith King for them.
Yeah, I sort of figured that the Pugna was going to be support or offlane or support.
Yeah.
Judging by the fact that usually you just don't pick Maybe's hero that soon.
For sure.
And we have seen him play Bat Rider, by the way, earlier in this tournament when he did it against, what was it, the Morphling of Nisha. And he did dominate that matchup.
And Chalice is going to be playing it here. FY is going to be on the Doom. So it's not going to be that Pugna mid. We're going to have the Bat Rider maybe going to be playing mid. Of course, he played that as well against Team Secret. Didn't work out so well for them there, but I believe the matchup is a lot better going up against the Templar Assassin. So our batting runes are going to break down here in 10 seconds. It looks like we are going to have an invasion here from Complexity, leading off with the Wraith King, who has that innate stun. Might as well. He's going to walk right past that little totem of PSG.LGD. Nab their bounty runes. That's going to be only two actually, because X-Nova managed to snag it away from Monkeys Forever. So we're going to keep it 2 for 2 despite the good play from Complexity. Getting aggressive. And of course, this is our first match that we're going to be able to see the teams play around with the battle passes. So we're going to be having lots of taunting back and forth.
Spicy.
Oh, hey, it's you.
Hello. Yeah, not really sure this bottom lane, though. FI plus the Pugna, played by Chalice. I mean, they're going to devote the tri-lane, and I think this is what Complexity should do. You should just straight up tri-lane in this, because I think it is quite difficult for them. I think it is quite difficult for them to just 2-on-2 against the Pugna Doom. Yeah.
But FY is already making good play here. It seems like this is just going to be the meta non-stop. We're going to be cutting creep waves. Meanwhile, top lane, we're going to have X-Nova using his first Inkswell to try and zone Monkeys Forever out. Because he doesn't have a support with him, X-Nova can take a little bit more liberties, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to really take out a Brewmaster. In fact, Z-Freak's now going to rotate up to this top lane, make it a 2 for 2, and X-Nova may be out of position as a result. Z-Freak going to try and cut him off in the trees here. It's going to spot him, get a little damage. Meanwhile, mid lane, look at that, Limbs TA. His legendary Templar Assassin was countered by PSG.LGD's fourth pickup in the maybe Bat Rider. And you can see exactly why they do manage to catch eventually. X-Nova inside the trees, Metamorphosis pop by Ame, but Monkeys Forever had plenty of regen to go.
Yeah, and this is going to be a pretty tough lane for, I think, just the Grimstroke. I think Ame, for the most part, should be able to just get free farm. Not really deterred by either of these heroes up here, but X-Nova's got to be careful. I mean, not a lot of armor on Grimstroke, 2 armor. You have a ton of base damage on both the Brewmaster and this Shaman, who is going to go for the pull on the wave as X-Nova very smartly at least catches 1 creep and uses it as a mini pull. And so he's going to mitigate some of the damage from being able to drag that creep wave. And in mid lane, I mean, Limp, this is notoriously a very difficult lane for TA to play.
You could see maybe taking full advantage of it. Boots already with his Null Talisman, and is pretty much full mana at this point, so it's not even like he's had to blow a whole lot of regen to get that earlier kill. Both the offlanes are doing the same thing. Both of them, their supports are running down the lane and being able to cut a creep wave, pull it around, and secure an advantage for their offlaner. So it looks like our lanes, well, I thought it was going to be a bit more even, but look at that, 14-3 for the Terrorblade. So despite X-Nova's death, it was a lot of space. Brewmaster has not gotten a whole lot of CS, and Ame has gotten plenty of denies, which is going to hurt this dual lane quite a bit. Meanwhile, the Bat Rider is dominating the mid matchup as expected, 18-2 compared to 8-2 on Limbs TA.
Yeah, but look at this, Z-Freak already gone for the stack as he's going to come mid, harass up maybe a little bit. And we have seen this before where maybe dominated on the Bat Rider in the laning phase. But the TA will catch up.
Yeah.
She's already had 1 Ancient stack up for her. She just gets 2 or 3 and she'll be perfectly fine.
So we just need the levels for the TA, and we'll get that net worth a little bit later. Does mean Z-Freak is going to be a bit more occupied. Monkeys Forever, he seems pretty fine with that because that's the thing. Grimstroke just does not pressure super well in lane unless you have a sick kill combo. You know, those sort of like Sand Kings or PAs or something that really takes advantage of the Inkswell by jumping on a hero. But this Terrorblade Ame just wants to focus on CS because that's really his specialty. Meracle's going to pop out the skeletons here as he was gone on by FY and Chalice. Fearing for his life, he retreats and lets his skeletons do his work.
I will say I think this is a above average Wraith King game. I think it's quite nice against Doom. They don't really have the burst to be able to just like knock out life after life.
Yeah.
And it's not fun to gank him in this game. But I think as the game progresses, he's not going to love playing against this TB.
For sure. I mean, it's a high armor hero that you really need to be able to burst down, and neither one is really Wraith King's specialty. He likes to be able to get that Radiance most of the time, just kind of last throughout a team fight, doing his damage over time. Good Ice Shard. Snowball's going to land on both of them. Meracle was kind of trapped out, though. Doesn't manage to get any damage onto Chalice. Just takes a step back. Chalice, speaking of, is 16-6, so PSG.LGD is absolutely dominating the CS right now in all of their lanes. The 5-minute bounding runes are going to be coming up, though. And maybe that will change Complexity's net worth a bit more. As Tuss is already in position, but so is Xnova. Him and Z-Freak are going to clash here.
And the roughest part right now for Complexity is this mid lane. Limp has just almost entirely abandoned it, meaning they're just going to get out XP'd pretty hard. You should at least, I think, rotate a support here at the very least to get something out of this lane.
And it looks like that's where Z-Freak is headed right now, so...
Yeah, even if Z-Freak dies, like I don't think, especially the mid lane, where it's the safest to farm and you'll just get the most XP, it's just way too big to give it up at this point.
Especially at that 5.5 minute mark where the Sea Dragon is spawned and is starting to run down lane. You don't want to abandon that lane and let that Sea Dragon do a bunch of damage to your mid tower.
Yeah, this is potentially 2 levels that you'll get out of this lane just by kind of existing. And even though it hurts your top lane, like Z-Freak wasn't really pressuring the TB to begin with. We already talked about
really
how
trying to go for him here. The Inkswell coming out. This is a really cool rotation from PSG.LGD, being able to kill that support in Z-Freak. And this means also killing the creep wave. That Siege Wagon that we mentioned before is now pushed onto that mid tower. Meanwhile, bottom lane, the tag team going off, but Chalice does have an answer in Decrepify. But it's a momentary respite here as he's got to try and get around this Ice Shard. It's now going to be picked up by the Snowball, chasing into the trees. They need to be able to get vision for this next stun coming out. But he's so damn fast and he's so damn nimble. He's getting away and he's juked him entirely out of vision. Chalice, very well played, light stepping his way out of the way of both 343 and Meracle at bottom.
That was so well done. Just hugged the tree line, knew the angle, found it, no problem.
Oh, jeez. Look at that. That rotation on mid that killed Z-Freak, that tower's below half already.
Yeah. I mean, Z-Freak kind of has to go there, and he did get a level out of that, but just a nice rotation, and they're punishing repeatedly on the side of LGD. Maybe he's saying, like, nobody's in my lane. We're going to just keep hurting him over and over again, putting pressure on it, making it so that Limp doesn't even feel good about catching up in this game.
Yeah. Like, you see maybe taking full advantage of the space. He dips behind the tower, grabs a creep wave, pulls it over to the medium radium camp that is right next to the lane so he can get that extra bit of farm. So he is definitely going to be staying far ahead of the TA for the foreseeable future.
Oh, look at this bottom.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a big rotation with the lasso, the pullback here. Chalice has the full opportunity to drain Meracle to death before he can get a level in that reincarnation, as he was still only level 5.
Yeah, and the fact that Chalice is a full level over the enemy carry, despite the fact that they did start with the tri-lane, is pretty incredible. And I mean, he almost has Aether Lens completed already, and the skill difference between these two teams is already showing as 7 minutes in, we're about to take a tower on the side of PSG.LGD. They're up 2K gold.
And this is not a lineup that I'm looking at Complexity. I don't look at this and see these heroes and say, like, oh man, they have a super weak early game, but let's just wait until 25 minutes. They're really going to come online. This is a lineup that I feel like is supposed to snowball more heavily, but has just been so countered by PSG.LGD.
Especially if they take the mid tower, then this TA won't really have a jungle to split with anybody else. As 343 is going to get out. FY guessing incorrectly here. Good move by Complexity though to go up to this top tower.
Yeah.
And at least get some sort of trade. But you really need to give Meracle this farm. Yeah. The fact that he's only level 5 right now makes his life a lot harder. And he is going to end up going for the Radiance build, which we talked about is usually the build that Wraith Kings go for. It just never feels very good against TB because he pops Reflection and he steals your Radiance.
Yeah.
That 5,000 gold item that you decided to farm just becomes his for free.
And look at that, Ame gave up his safe lane tower, and he says, I'll make a trade-off too. I'll head mid, I'll pop my Metamorphosis. That mid tower was super low anyway. They're gonna bring Chalice over here as well to make sure the tower does fall. Meanwhile, top lane, Meracle, he may have gotten the tower, but he was sharing experience and is still not level 6. They're also gonna go on mid lane. They surround the Brewmaster, kill him while the Wraith King dies at top. They take the mid tower as well. That was just like a 2,000 net worth swing, and PSG.LGD now up by 4K, 5-1. And it's not even the 10-minute marker yet.
Yeah, very nice rotation from Ame to use the Metamorphosis. A lot of times you'll see Ame and RTZ, they'll use it to farm out the jungle.
Yeah.
They'll use it to, especially for the Ancients. Like both of those players, I think, do that the most is...
Inkswell, Snowball's going to be able to dodge that. He is going to run back in, and an Ice Shard's a beautiful one at that. This can turn Complexity's game entirely if they can actually kill multiple heroes here. Chalice does manage to sneak away with his TP. Monkeys Forever just a little bit slow on popping that Primal Split and getting out the tornado needed. If they could have caught the core, it would have been fantastic. Still, though, 2 kills on the support's not too shabby for Complexity. That will go a long ways to helping them back into this game.
Yeah, they just need any sort of kills right now because I think pace-wise, not the best for them. Limp has done a pretty good job, though, of catching up. He is just entirely hitting neutral creeps.
3 bounty runes as well for Complexity. So that 4K went to 3, now 2. Net worth lead beginning to be diminished. And Complexity's lineup, I mean, you've talked about it quite a bit, is that the TA can come back by being able to farm up these Ancients. What sort of timing are we looking for Complexity to really start utilizing this TA in combating LGD's pushes?
Probably wait for her to get a Blink Dagger so that they can actually open up the fight. I think if it's PSG.LGD that open up the fight, it's really hard for Complexity to counter.
Yeah.
If you get double doomed, Pugna Drain with the Phantom, I think is really, really hard to stop, just because it's the perfect situation until you get BKB or Eul Scepter. And none of these heroes really want to get those, like nobody really wants to get Euls, and BKB is a far dream away right now. So I think whoever opens up the fight, especially for Complexity's side, it's so important to be able to start it.
Z-Freak just going to lay down the Serpent Wards. We saw this from Complexity. They're very free with using their Serpent Wards just to be able to do some damage onto towers. Z-Freak would oftentimes just kind of like suicide down lane just to get him out. He is maybe going to be caught here by FY. He does manage to get 1 Infernal Blade. The slowdown of the Stroke of Fate is going to be there, as well as the TA trap, but it's still not enough. Z-Freak will be able to back up. All of PSG.LGD is here now in the mid lane, except for Chalice, who's bottom. We'll see where they want to rotate to, what tower they want to take next. Because it is clear Complexity still don't have their core items. The Blink Dagger is coming out for the Brewmaster quite soon. We still need the TA's Blink, and that Radiance is a far, far away dream, especially if Meracle dies again here. He has not chosen a level Reincarnation yet, but he does have the skill point held. He doesn't want to be left in a scenario where he's guaranteed going to be dying twice and waste that very lengthy Reincarnation cooldown.
Yeah, I do like when players do this, but meta's been popped by Ame. This is not your standard, I'm going to hit Ancient's TB. He's here to hit towers with his meta when it is available. And this should be a free tier 2 is... I mean, everybody from Complexity is filtering in, and 343, it looks like he does want to set up for the fight right now, but tower's going to fall quickly, and Meracle, his first life is going to pop. They have to try to defend him here, but Bad Rider...
The Snowball is going to be able to save him. The Brewmaster is on his way with Blink Dagger right now. Is he going to be able to appear in time? There goes Clap. There goes Primal Split as well. He starts getting out the disables. They're going to go for Ame first, it looks like, but the lasso's up, and Ame is still swinging. He's going to be able to take Meracle down fast, and even with the disables, there's no damage behind any of this, and that means Complexity are just going to get almost wiped here. 3 of the 4 end up falling, and the Brewmaster will be able to escape with his life intact, but only because the Primal Split was used. Limp was farming that entire time, as you would expect him to. He can't really do a whole lot in that fight, as he is still missing that Blink Dagger.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that Complexity decided to take that fight, especially after your tower's dead. There's really nothing there for you, except for
nothing
kills.
To be gained except for a hope that you win a fight.
Even if you kill like 2 heroes there, you didn't really gain anything out of it. It'll just reset the game because you have to push out that bottom lane entirely. Maybe you got Limp some farm, and that's okay, but you know, you're fighting 5-on-5 into a team that has more net worth than you.
Do you think at this point, Complex need to play a little bit more for the pickoffs? Their team fight is not superior to LGD, so stay away from those 5-on-5s?
I think the reason why they're looking for the 5-on-5s is because, well, they've got Wraith King and the enemy team has TB. So you're hoping at least you're stronger at this point. But if you look at the item prioritization, it's the complete opposite. You have Meracle, who he's got Treads and he has 1,500 gold built up, trying to go for Radiance. And on the other hand, you've got this TB that's gone for this very early game-centric build, going Treads into Drums. He even bought Drums before he went for the boots. So you knew that he was going to just pop meta, run at towers. Ame's like, I'm going to get map control for you guys. Because a lot of TBs, I think, would say, you guys get map control for me. But he's going around the map, swinging with his meta, trying to say, let's take towers whenever it's up. And look at this. Again, based off the timing, 5 seconds left for meta. They want to push these 2 towers. Complexity. They're thinking about fighting, but they lost the fight without Doom even being casted.
They're going to stay up on the high ground near their shrine, hoping that PSG.LGD will overextend themselves somehow, but they come in force. Multiple heroes and Complexity
They should keep
wilt
going.
away immediately. And PSG.LGD, yeah, they sense that weakness. They sense that Complexity is not willing to take a fight right now. They are currently taking the mid-tier 1 tower, but PSG.LGD are going to go for the push tier 2 at top. So 2 towers for 1, pretty good exchange.
I'm sort of down for them to even chance high ground. I know that sounds crazy, but they've got meta and they can just Pugna Blast repeatedly. But in fact, they decide to go back because, I mean, no opportunities given. And I think they don't really want to blow their lead. But I would have been even okay for the forced high ground to at least get people to come back.
Ame, Snowball coming out for him. They think that PSG.LGD is a little bit isolated here. The Doom is going to come out. The Primal Split as well. They're going to be able to kill the Tusk yet, but they're controlling up Ame. But so many heroes are here from PSG.LGD. They were not that far away. They're going to try and burst down FY, but he's being healed up. All the Decrepify and the Drain coming out from the Pugna is going to be able to keep him alive. Miracle's limping him away. He has 14 seconds till Reincarnation is back up. That's not going to be long enough. It looks like he will fall here. Once again, Complexity try and take a fight, and it's in error, as they were not strong enough to be able to take the engagement. They lose 2 and potentially 3 here, as Monkeys Forever is going to be bounced back by that flame break up. Maybe tries to go for the TP out. He's going to take out, though, mega kill streak for Maybe. Even X-Nova, well, looks like he was a little bit separated from his team as they all chase back for that Brewmaster. Complexity to at least get some small pick out of that terrible fight.
They needed something out of that. And it just goes to show you, in the previous fight, 2 fights ago, they didn't even use Doom, and they destroyed. I think they didn't lose a hero. In this fight, they doomed a Tusk, which is probably the ideal situation for Complexity, right?
Yeah.
You doom the 5-position Tusk, and you're still not worried about whether or not you're going to lose the fight. And really, they only lose the Grimstroke because X-Nova decided to take a long detour to play some wards. But I mean, if that's the best that you're getting out of fights at this point, for Complexity, the game plan, I think, has to shift. It has to go away from going for these early game fights and just farming, which, I mean, doesn't sound very good against a TB, but option-wise, it is a single core TB.
Yeah.
Which is always kind of nice to play against.
And I can kind of see how late game, you would probably have to overplay your lineup a bit, but you could beat a single core TB. Limp is going to be able to blink away just before Maybe was able to get the lasso, but Maybe he's closing in, has a flame break, he's going to get hexed up, but he's still, with all that extra movement speed, going to be able to pull Limp back. Z-Freak was not able to stop that kill, and now Z-Freak going to try and go for the TP out, but there's Yules to be able to stop him. Brought back down to earth and to his own doom, as it is now 4-13, 8,000 net worth lead for PSG.LGD.
Yeah, and Maybe, I mean, proving he can play all the roles, because I think a lot of people would say, oh, well, he's sort of the Sumail type, Abed type, like you want him to play these carry mids, but he said it's a good Batrider game, give me Batrider, and so far he's been quite dominant, 7-0-4, he's been in 11 out of these 13 kills for his team. He's created so much space for Ame.
3-4-3 in trouble, Decrepified up, Snowball's gonna be able to stop that life drain, but obviously he's surrounded by too many heroes to make any cool moves. I like that. I like your analysis of Ame and the difference of how he would traditionally play TB and the way he's playing in this game. Very fast, very objective based. Do you think that's something they maybe learned from their loss to Secret?
Yeah, it was the Naga game, right, that you're thinking about, where he was just hitting creeps for a while. I mean, it's two things, because want this like TB, who I think scales like in a different way than Naga, because as soon as you have meta, you can fight. Whereas Naga, you need to just keep power farming, keep power creeping, cutting waves. With TB, you push in the waves, you get aggressive, you can take towers early on. I think that's more of the missing element that they were looking for. Plus, they have multiple ways to go high ground and punish. And they still have team fight with the ways that their heroes are set up as 3-4-3. I mean, he went for it, but most likely will be punished for this play.
At the same time, Meracle is just being kited around by Maybe, who's keeping his distance away from those skeletons and away from a potential Wraith Fire Blast. He's just going to make sure that Meracle can't possibly TP away. He'll let his team do the dirty work and come in when needed. Now we're going to be looking at net worth that's going to be encroaching upon 10,000 gold lead. By this early, it is looking more and more hopeless for Complexity to be able to make this comeback. Their Templar Assassin is about to be surpassed by the Pugna when it comes to net worth. The Radiance is coming in slowly but surely. He's building up that net worth for it. Oh, we're going to have a Sunder at bottom lane. Ame not even bothering really chasing the Brewmaster, even though his team was on his way. Zephrie's going to be caught as Maybe reveals the support in the trees. Ame will take the time to go for that kill at least. But it's Maybe who walks away with godlike spree. BKB up next for Limp. He knows he can't go for a Tessellator. He's got to go for an early game item. And maybe with that Magic Immunity item, and maybe with the Radiance picked up as well, there's a small possibility.
I think if
that the next team fight could go their way.
Another DPS item, they would just lose.
Yeah.
Like, you need to be able to fight, because I think the high ground attempt from PSG.LGD is going to come soon as top lane Doom out onto this TA. Limp's just going to go down. And even with the BKB cap, he doesn't really have an answer to that.
No, certainly not. I love the way that Chalice just kind of chilled out in the trees, waiting for his Doom to find that initiation. Maybe he's in a bit of trouble here, though. Surrounded, they're going to try and chain stun him as best as possible. The Grimstroke tries to come in and help out. The double lasso is going to ensure that they both die. And was it even close? Maybe. Took about 400 damage. Still had another 1,400. And now with the double damage and Ame ready to go with the Metamorphosis, this is looking like we could see a high ground push.
Score 4-20 as, I mean,
Maybe he's just really going for it at this point. It seems like he has no chill whatsoever. He had no lasso, and he's still trying to go for Z-Freak, and he's tanky enough that he's actually taking this 1 versus 2. Might be able to survive as the one goes off. Ame, just a little bit of extra style in there. Will Sunder maybe to keep him alive, because Ame has that extra life in the Aegis. And Monkey's, he's entirely right. PSG.LGD, they have no chill in this game.
Oh yeah, they're playing very dominant. They're averaging a kill a minute at this point. 4-20 is the score. Complexity haven't really found their bearing at any point. They've taken so many unsuccessful fights. The one at bottom is really the one that was sort of a head scratcher, where Limp was in the area, but he must have told his team, like, I'm 200 gold from Blink Dagger, guys. There's no way I'm fighting right now. And then once they lost 2 fights in a row, he's like, well, my next item timing has to come up. Because if you're not winning fights without the Blink Dagger, you're not winning fights with the Blink Dagger at that point.
And they had just gotten the Blink Dagger from the Brewmaster too. So that's why they wanted to take that fight. But then they also start the fight way before the Brew's even there.
Yeah, it's just it was just a confusing perspective. I think maybe somebody was just like, go in. Let's try to catch a fight. And it just got sloppier and sloppier. And
yeah.
Now you're in this position where you're playing against this TB who's got a fully completed Scotty at 22 minutes. So even if Limp does get BKB, problems for him is every item timing that he's gone for has just been countered. It's like, well, I'm waiting for my Blink Dagger. You get your Blink Dagger, they're just more farm than you. Let's wait for my BKB. By the time you get your BKB, they have Scotty. And I would imagine that they go for high ground now with this Aegis.
Yeah, they've still got a bit of time here on that secondary life for Ame. Just run up high ground, pop the meta, start attacking the tower before Complexity's really set up to defend. As their Wraith King is nowhere nearby. Maybe comes in through the side from the trees, hoping somebody from Complexity was a little lapse in their spacing. Not going to be caught. And looks like Complexity going to give up this lane of racks. And I can't really blame them. We don't see this very often, Dota, that you go for no defense of barracks. But at this point, I don't think they can actually take that engagement. Not until the Aegis is down, which is in 25 seconds. But Ame is going to use that full 25 seconds here. They've got 1 lane of barracks. Now I'm going to go for the tier 3 at mid. Radiance is finally here. Complexity, can they do anything to be able to hold this? They've got all their item timings now. Meracle has already lost his reincarnation. We have the lasso on the BK beat of Templar Assassin, going to be controlled up. They're going to be locked in by that Grimstroke as well. Meracle in his second life is already gone. The BKB is going to wear out eventually for the TA, who's currently doomed up in the back line. X-Nova controlling 343 as well. Monkeys Forever is only alive because the Primal Split is just not being dealt with right now. 343 does actually manage to kill the Grimstroke, drop the gem, but that's it. GG is called from Complexity. Pretty much a flawless performance by PSG.LGD.
Yeah, that was insane. They were